Hello, everyone, and welcome to a landmark episode here on January 27th, 2016 of Balls Deep Sports Talk. I am your host with the almost your hump day hero again this week, the one and only Scotty Ball. And I say landmark episode because this week we are in full-on celebration mode, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are celebrating our 50th weekly episode, consecutive weekly episode here of Balls Deep Sports Talk. And on the one hand, it feels like we've been doing this forever, and on the other hand, it feels like we just got started a couple weeks ago, and here we are 50 episodes later into the show, still going strong as ever, and that is in much large part due to you, the Balls Deep Army, my weekly Balls Deep goers, whether you were listening from day one on our mothership broadcast platform, internet radio station, WNLMradio.com, which is still down, but will be up and running in the very near future, I have been reassured. Hopefully that comes to fruition. Or whether you followed us from there to the TuneIn app, which will be back up when the radio station is up, or if you're currently listening to us, obviously you're using one of three platforms, either YouTube, SoundCloud, or my personal favorite, the Spreaker app. Download it if you haven't done so yet. If you have done so, obviously you know what I'm talking about, and you're enjoying it, as am I. But no matter how you came to find the show or how you are coming to still enjoy the show on a weekly basis, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for tuning in and giving me a purpose and reason to talk sports with you here every week on Balls Deep Sports Talk. Now, for our 50th episode here, not only do we have, fun, big, and interesting sports news to discuss, but there is also some very big, fun news on my part that I will share with you here in just a few moments as well, in regarding a forging of a deeper, more intimate relationship between the Minnesota Vikings and yours truly, Scotty Ball. So I can't wait to share that news with you. And like I said, I'll share that momentarily. Before we get to the outline of what's on the show, as always, got to encourage you to follow me and the show on both Twitter and Facebook. It's a great way to stay up with sports news when you're not listening to the show, since I only do one show a week. Obviously, sports are happening 7 days a week, so it's a great way to allow me to keep you informed 7 days a week, as well as get me your feedback, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you'd like to hear me discuss more of, what you'd like to hear me discuss less of, perhaps anything that you'd like to share to make the show better, or just say hi, however you want to use it. And you can find me on Facebook by searching, liking, and friending, hopefully eventually, Scotty-Ball. You'll see the green Balls Deep Sports Talk logo, pretty obvious. And the same holds true for Twitter. However, our Twitter handle is simply at BDST Show. So make sure to follow us on Twitter as well if you are on Twitter, as I am quite often. I'm much more on Twitter than Facebook. I know a lot of people, spend a lot of time on Facebook. Me, I tend to scroll through my Twitter feed much more than my Facebook posts in news or what have you. But, I think that's what we've got for the shameless plugs to get out of the way here at the beginning of the show. We'll get to the outline, and then we will officially get underway. But so let's give you an idea of what's coming up here on the show this week. I am going to try and keep it trimmed down shorter than it has been as of late. I know I say that every week, and we all know I fail every week. But this week, I feel like I've got the conviction to actually follow through with it. And also the schedule demands of my week, forcing me to, wrap it up in a more prompt fashion, say, than I am, than is in my nature. But as far as what specifically we will be talking about on the show tonight, here is what's on the menu, tentatively. Again, these are all, chef's choice, really, so. we have our fair share of football to discuss, as this past Sunday held the AFC and NFC Conference Championship games featuring the Denver Broncos hosting the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers hosting the Arizona Cardinals. So we will get you caught up, recapped on what happened there, my thoughts and takes on the outcomes, as well as a little bit of what to look at moving forward here going into the Super Bowl. However, we will not go too much into our Super Bowl previewing here on the show, as we will save that for next week's show, since the Super Bowl is 2 weeks away. It is not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. I want to say February 6th, however, the February 6th. I want to say that is in fact Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe it's the 7th, maybe the 6th. Yes, the 6th is a Saturday, so it would be Sunday, February 7th. Is your Super Bowl, so 2 weeks away. So we'll say most of the previewing of Super Bowl 50, even though it's episode 50. So, like I said, we'll sneak peek at it a little bit, but that will be more of next week's show. But we'll recap the conference championship games, get my thoughts on that. We will definitely get my thoughts on the Pro Bowl, which is having its draft selection process. Yes, there's a draft for the Pro Bowl, as there are two celebrity former players, Hall of Fame members, who basically GM the two teams now involved. We don't have an AFC versus NFC anymore. It's been that way for a couple years now. I'm not sure exactly when that changed over, just a few years ago, but it was getting really close to just having the whole game scrapped entirely. This was an idea that they infused to try and rejuvenate new interest in it. But so we've got that going on this coming Sunday, and we'll be talking about that, who's in it, what I think about the format, what do you think about the new format, things like that, different news and noteworthy stuff. We'll try and revisit something I'd really like to do. Maybe we'll do it next week, but I would like to this week at least take our official revisit in the NFL to our preseason predictions and see how close we were, what we got right, what we got wrong, what we were, pretty close on, what we were way off on, and just kind of own that. Everybody likes to make predictions and whatever, and but then most of the times they just, when it's done, it never gets revisited. No one's ever held accountable. I don't like that. I like to going back and looking and seeing what was right and what was wrong, and what we can learn and things like that, because the name of the show is Balls Deep Sports Talk, where our motto is there's no such thing as too deep. So we're trying to become the best, most intelligent, educated, well-rounded sports fans possible by discussing what's going on and talking it out with each other here. And then in addition to that, we do have a little bit of Vikings talk to throw in, primarily regarding a new coaching hire. No, Mike Zimmer, head coach, has not been fired or quit or anything like that. A positions coach has been hired. But so we'll check in on the Vikings just a little bit as well. And as I mentioned, I do have some very big, exciting Minnesota Vikings plus Scotty Ball related news to share with you at some point as well. Outside of football, plenty of other stuff to discuss. If you listen to last week's show, you know that this past Sunday was the Royal Rumble in WWE, and if you've been listening to this show for the last 2 to 3 months, whenever it was announced, you know that tonight was the premiere of Season 2 of Lucha Underground Wrestling on the El Rey Network. So we will be talking some pro wrestling here as well, recapping the Royal Rumble, getting you up to speed on where things are at in the road to WrestleMania and the upcoming Fastlane pay-per-view in WWE, as well as any other WWE news, in addition to Lucha Underground Season 2 starting, other wrestling promotions, NXT, TNA, National Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor. There's all kinds of pro wrestling out there right now. We will definitely dive into at least a few of them here at some point on tonight's show. And that, I can promise you at least that. In addition, we'll be talking hockey my Minnesota Wild, possibly your Minnesota Wild. They are off now for the All-Star break, so we will be discussing where the state of hockey currently is at with the Minnesota Wild, and we'll also discuss just a little bit of the Frozen Four, which is an annual college hockey tournament, big college hockey tournament that takes place here in my home state, my native land of Minnesota every year. And then we will also talk some, and this is in no particular order, by the way, we'll talk some NBA basketball with the Wolves. They're playing tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I am watching them, and they are winning. They've been winning pretty much the entire game. Taking on OKC. I mean, OKC played last night, so they're on the back end of a back-to-back on the road, and their first game went into overtime. So this, from a team matchup, yes, they're far superior and should beat us. But from a scheduling standpoint, if we're ever going to beat them, this is definitely a night where you should beat someone, almost regardless of who it is, unless it's the Spurs or the Warriors. If it's any semi-normal human, type of team, you should win. But T-Wolves looking good tonight. We'll talk T-Wolves basketball as well as going around the NBA with some league news regarding the Cavs head coaching position, Blake Griffin, and the crazy news that he has created surrounding himself, and maybe a few other NBA-related topics. We'll try and take a peek at college basketball. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are also playing tonight. They are hosting Purdue. Not a good season so far for them. Maybe we'll check in on the top 25 as well, but we'll try and discuss a little bit of college basketball. Maybe check in on Major League Baseball. I believe the winter owner meetings were just held or are currently being held, discussing some changes possibly in Major League Baseball. So we'll see if we have time to check in on that. For you baseball fans, Mr. Clean. There is tennis going on, major open tennis going on, as the Australian Open, mate, is being played down under right now. We just finished the quarterfinals, and the semis are underway. So we're going to check in. We've got a big matchup coming up at 2:30 a.m. this Thursday morning, featuring the number 1 ranked player in the world on the men's side, Novak Djokovic, versus the number 5 seed on the men's side, Roger Federer. This will be the 45th time that they have faced each other in tournament play, professional tournament play, and they are currently sitting at 22-22. I'm sorry, I can't hold the Australian accent anymore. But so we'll check in on some Australian Open tennis for you tennis fans. We got PGA golf season underway too, trying to make us feel warmer here, at least in the northern and eastern states of the United States, by letting us watch professional golf out west and in other parts of the world. We've got the Farmers Insurance Tournament being held at the famous Torrey Pines golf course out in California this week. We'll take a peek at that and what else is going on in the golf world. And we've got UFC news regarding the fastly approaching UFC 196 on Saturday, February 6th. Big change in everything going on there. Main eventers pulling out, broadcast, format of the show, basically, I should say, being completely changed, and all kinds of interesting stuff going on there. And I believe, and then of course, we'll work those into our segments throughout the show and close with Ball's Deep Thought of the Day, and try and, leave with a Christian ponderer to, think about till next time. So that is what we've got planned to cram in to this, our 50th consecutive weekly episode of the show. Again, thanks for tuning in. As always, whether you're new here to Balls Deep Sports Talk or whether you are a full-fledged card-carrying member of the Balls Deep Army, thanks for finding us. Thanks for tuning in. Buckle up and let's go. All right. Opening segment time almost officially underway. Balls Deep gambling game players or gamblers, place your wagers on our honoree first topic